What if I told you that most men might be getting it fundamentally wrong in the bedroom? The source material we're diving into today makes a really fascinating argument that there's this massive gap between what men think women want and what they actually desire. And you know what? The reason for that disconnect is probably not what you'd expect. So, the source kicks things off by defining something it calls the pleasure gap. And look, this isn't just some small difference in satisfaction. It's described as a fundamental disconnect between male assumptions and female reality. It's that empty space between what he thinks is working and what she's truly feeling. Just let that sink in for a second. The majority of women. So, why? Well, the source suggests it's often to protect their partner's feelings, to just speed things along, or maybe because they've just given up hope that he'll ever really get it right. This is the reality of that pleasure gap. So that brings us to the big question, right? If so many men think they're doing a fantastic job, but the reality for a whole lot of women is something completely different, what's being missed? Where is the breakdown happening? And according to this source, the answer boils down to one simple thing: focus. So many men, it argues, are locked into the mechanics of it all, the physical performance. But for women, it's about the entire experience. It's emotional, it's psychological, and it's physical. And that one crucial difference in perspective, well, that's what separates the average from the unforgettable. And this is where we get to the core idea of this whole thing: the difference between what the source calls an average man and an experienced one. And trust me, it's not what you think. This has nothing to do with how many partners you've had. It's all about what you know. Yeah, and this really lays it all out, doesn't it? The average man, as it's defined here, is still stuck on these old myths, that it's all about size and stamina. But the experienced man, he gets it. He understands that the real power is in knowing her psychology and then applying precise, effective techniques. So what is this secret knowledge? Well, it's not about being some kind of acrobat or memorizing 100 different positions. Nope, it's about understanding a few simple but incredibly powerful techniques that can make all the difference in the world. Let's jump into the first one. All right, secret number one. The source calls it the unexpected angle, and its power comes from a really key principle: breaking predictability. It's designed to introduce a sensation that's so new, it can completely reset her expectations of what's possible. Now, this is a pretty subtle variation on a position a lot of people already know, but that one tiny adjustment, that pillow under her hips, it changes absolutely everything about the internal dynamics. It's such a small shift, but it has potentially massive consequences. So why does this work so well? Well, it's all about anatomy. See, by lifting her pelvis just a little bit, the angle of penetration shifts from what she's used to. It becomes lower, more direct, and this allows for constant pressure on the G-spot, an area that, according to this text, often gets missed with more conventional angles. It just leads to a much deeper, more intense experience. But look, just getting into the position is only half the battle. The source really emphasizes that how you do it is key. It's about starting with slow, controlled, deliberate movements, adding simultaneous clitoral stimulation, and just leveraging the sheer power of doing something that she absolutely did not see coming. Okay, on to secret number two. This one is also all about hitting that perfect angle for G-spot stimulation, but it takes a completely different approach, one that also really enhances intimacy and connection. So picture this. She's on top, but instead of sitting upright, she just leans her torso forward. That's it. That's the whole move. This simple change is the key to unlocking an entirely different kind of internal stimulation, transforming a really common position into something brand new. And once again, the why behind this is all about hitting the right spot, anatomically speaking. This inclined diagonal angle is presented as being perfectly designed to create constant friction and pressure against the front wall of the vagina, which is right where the G-spot is. It's all about turning a familiar position into a highly targeted one. And this is where it gets really powerful, because this position sets you up perfectly to combine two kinds of stimulation at once. With her leaning forward like that, manual clitoral stimulation becomes easy, natural. The text basically describes this 1-2 punch as devastatingly effective. It's the formula for an incredibly fast and powerful orgasm. All right, secret number three. This is different. We're moving away from the purely physical and we're diving deep into psychology. This is where, the source proposes, an experience goes from being just physically pleasurable to becoming mentally unforgettable.
Now, when the source uses the word addiction, it's not talking about the clinical term, obviously. It's talking about that potent mix of intense physical pleasure with an equally intense emotional state. It's about creating this powerful mental imprint that makes the experience something she not only remembers, but actually craves.
And this is the real psychological secret, according to the source. It makes a pretty bold claim that what makes an experience truly addictive is tapping into feelings she deeply enjoys but might rarely, if ever, admit out loud. Things like a sense of vulnerability, a temporary loss of control, and being led by a confident partner who knows exactly what they're doing.
So, when you put all of this stuff together, the physical techniques, the psychology, what happens? Well, it's the difference between being just another partner and becoming the benchmark.
And man, this next quote from the source it's brutally honest. It argues that being memorable isn't about just trying hard. It's about providing a unique experience that can't be easily replicated by just anyone. It's about giving her something no one else has.
So, at the end of the day, what's the big takeaway? According to this source, it really just comes down to a choice. You can be good enough and ultimately forgettable, or you can be the one she compares everyone else to, the one who sets a whole new standard.
And that's pretty much it. The three secrets that this source claims can make you unforgettable. It argues that it's not about size, it's not about stamina, it's about knowledge, technique, and a really deep understanding of psychology. So the final question it leaves us with is, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to be a blurry memory or an unforgettable mark?